because they were and to be honest, all the staff officers that I met with, they admitted to me that it was that I was me personally, that I was weird because I knew more than one language. Because they always told, even the NATO guys always told the British, the Canadians, and the Dutch. They told the joke, like, what do you call someone who speaks 3 languages? Bilingual. How about if they speak 2 languages? Bilingual. What if they speak 1 language?
American. Oh, we are such a disadvantage, I think, because we're isolated, and I don't think that our government really cares about, like, the school systems, about learning.
But we don't have to, and the entire planet spends their education and energy learning English. Why? Because it is the only thing. It's the language of business, and therefore, it is now the de facto international language.
And welcome back to Rhythm and Rome with Benef, Paul, and Trecia, where we discuss our travel adventures and explore cultural differences, similarities, and misconceptions. And guess what? We're bringing the crazy today. I guarantee you that.
Sorry. All right. Well, so you saw the joke about, what do you call a person that speaks 1 language? American, right? Yeah. So basically we have that reputation of just being people that don't give a rat's ass about any other language besides English.
Everybody always have jokes about Americans, but everybody want to emulate us. You know, I was talking to my friend here in France, and obviously they always talk about, why do we always automatically assume people speak English?
Right.
Which is a good question. Why?
It is a good question. So
it is a very good question.
There could be multiple reasons, right? So we've got the British that basically colonized the entire fucking world, who speak English, to include.
Well, the French did too, as well. Remember,
included with the Netherlands and Portugal and who else? Let's see. Yes, France, but the Dutch.
The Dutch. Yeah. Okay, so why out of all those languages is English so why aren't we all speaking French?
Very simple answer.
That's a good question, because I wish I could speak French, because that's a very sexy language. But
what is
the answer, Trecia? You said it's a very simple answer.
Very simple answer. After World War II, the United States had a lot of let's say clout. They had a lot of collateral, they had a lot of say-so, and basically stepped into that international footprint. And they became the superpower that we are today. So why we feel so, and we've continued to do that and have dominance over everything that has to do with anything global, any of the global organizations, non-global organizations, everyone looks to the United States for the answer. So automatically, we automatically think that folks speak English. That's the historical aspect of it.
I would say part of it is true, but I have to say we probably was dominant before that. Meaning
probably World War I, of course,
English,
too. Yeah.
Or even before then too, as well. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like,
quit fucking with the camera. What are you
sorry.
doing?
I was trying to make it seem like I was trying to be incognito, but clearly that didn't work.
No, that shit was not incognito. All right. So
I think it's
okay. Well, I guess so. Does that mean that after World War II, and when we, basically colonized Germany and Japan, and Korea came shortly after, and we just stayed there forever, people had to learn English because we damn sure weren't going to learn some other language.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, but we're only talking about 1 continent, for crying out loud, or 2 continents. That's why I said it has to be more than that. I just think
but even
English language is very easy, and the Brits obviously.
What do you mean easy?
No, the English language is not easy.
It is easy for people.
It is extremely easy.
You're American. Okay. It's your first language.
Oh my God.
I get it.
It's not easy.
It's easy compared to France.
Listeners, please chime in. If English is your second language, And maybe
is
you
not.
have more than one language that you know.
But I see French people
English
that
has
that have a
English
problem
words.
with French.
No, listen, the English language has words have so many different meanings and so
Same
many
with every other
different
country.
inflections. And yes, but we personally do, because not only do we have our own words, but we adopt words also from other cultures and other languages,
Well,
and
of
then we make it
course,
our
from
own.
Latin,
So,
from all
so
different
it
walks of
makes
life.
perfect sense. English is hard. It really is.
It's so
So,
bland and basic. I don't hate.
all right, says the
I just
American.
think it's a simple language, which I'm fine with. I'm just saying it is not compared to French, compared to German, compared
Well,
to
yes. As
Mandarin.
of now, as an adult trying to learn it, of course not.
No,
But
but
as
even
you
when I
as
was
you
younger,
started,
when
if
we
you were
were in
starting from
school,
birth,
people wanted to speak Spanish. When they say go learn another language, we always
because that's
went
the second language.
because there's a lot of Spanish people within America. That I understand that. But
just
in
America.
general,
Spanish speakers, yeah.
Spanish speakers.
Yeah, Spanish
in
speakers,
America,
yes.
in
Mhm.
America, yes. But my point is that we or our language is and I'm not trying, it's not putting anything down. It's easy for someone to pick it up versus us picking up French. It's not
Okay.
easy to pick up French. It's
So
not easy
here,
to pick up
how about this? I
German,
think
stuff like that.
I maybe I see where you're going. I'm going to twist it maybe, because I think
Okay.
that I will agree with you that our language, when someone who it's not their, it's their second language, English is their second language, when they try to speak it, we can understand them if it's broken or if there's an accent,
Exactly.
because we have so many different ways to pronounce one word: potato, potato, tomato, tomato. We can interpret what they're saying. Whereas if I'm trying to speak French and I pronounce that shit wrong, or Japanese, they will look at me like I'm insane. Like it's not a word.
I was getting ready to agree with you the whole way, Benef, until you did that, because I'm like, don't include the French in that, because the French, if you're not perfect,
that's what I
tough
just
shit.
said. If I go to try to speak French and I pronounce it wrong, they look at me as if I'm insane.
Yeah, but
Whereas
that's
we
not
don't do that.
because, right, that's just a cultural thing. That's not because the language, that's just a cultural thing.
So you're
Okay,
saying,
well,
okay.
So
I don't know.
we talked about the colonialism of it, right? And we talked about as far as the strongest and largest economy, right? So what about the effects of TV, media, and music?
I was just
Let's think
that was
about
my
that.
next thing I was gonna
So all the
say.
music, I do think
That is the
that,
reason why
yeah.
they speak English very well or easy to pick it up, because they have no choice, because our music comes over here in English, they sing it. I really do feel that social media, the media, and all of our westernized culture impacted the world. And because of that, and I really, really, truly feel with the media and our capital helped with everyone learning English, because because they know we travel a lot. We as an Americans, we tend to
Yeah.
travel and live all over the world a lot. And when we go, and I do feel that way sometimes when I'm in a certain place and especially when I tell them I'm from New York or I'm from the States, I sometimes feel that I do get slight bit of a treatment of, oh, he's gonna spend a lot of money, or he's gonna tip me or something like that, because they know us as tippers. And I mean, I can have Benef, you went to the restaurant across the street from where I live.
Mhm.
And I can tell you, I can go there at any time when they're very packed and busy, and I will have a chair. And the reason why I will have a chair is because I screwed up one time and I gave the man a 20 € tip, thinking it was not a big deal because I had a lot of food with
20
friends.
euros. So they're okay speaking English with you there. They don't be like, you must speak, or I
Right.
can't do a French
Well, they
accent,
don't
but
speak English that well, but what they'll do is they make sure that I have a table whenever I want, because they know I'm going to tip them, and they will try their best to speak English. Matter of fact, they even have an English menu because they know that we're
so they
going to be
created
there.
the English menu for you.
Well,
Is that what you're
I
telling
don't
me?
know if they created. I don't know if they created it for me, but all of a sudden, the next time I came back, there was an English menu.
Huh?
so
Perhaps.
so here's That's interesting. So
It's a small place, so.
to kind of turn off of that then. So, what are the advantages then, since we're talking about that at this sense, and you just mentioned it, ease of traveling abroad, right? You're likely to have someone who can speak English, right? Yes or no? Do
I mean,
we automatically look for that?
And it's funny because
it's comfortable. I'm not gonna lie, especially if it's a
Mhm.
language. I'm going somewhere that I don't know the language, like China or Indonesia. I'm not going to be able to learn enough to converse in those two languages, but it's
Right.
more than likely that the people in the hospitality industry are going to know English.
Mm.
And so
And when I was in
Right.
Tajikistan, I can't even say the word. I was there and I never forget, there was a guy that was like, "Oh, America, America." And then he started singing the national anthem. What? Like, how did he know the national anthem? Oh, say, can you see? And I'm like,
Paul's singing
Yes.
show.
how
it
did he
is.
know that?
Well,
How did
I'm
he
sure.
know
Well,
that?
you
Well,
could. I mean, if you watch any sporting
It's-
event, a international
Yeah.
sporting event,
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm being a little smart ass about it, but I'm
Okay.
just saying the point is that Tajikistan, why would they know the American anthem?
Tajikistan. Well, he was trying to impress you. It's obvious.
Obviously.
I don't
know
know, but
why.
you're right. I don't know what their national anthem is. That is true.
Well,
Right,
and
that's
the
my
benefit,
point. That's my point.
the benefit now, now let me turn it the other way. The benefit of the country or the person that you're speaking to, and you've alluded this stuff, to your story just a minute ago, Paul, or you mentioned that, is because they know we have money. So there's a benefit to
Bingo.
them.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
And they know, and especially when you go to the countries that are not economically sound,
Yes.
like we've been in the Middle East, and stuff like this. And I can tell you, even when I was living in Jordan
Right.
or when I was living in Turkey, like they value the fact of wanting to speak English, or Korea. They value us wanting to speak English because they know we're going to spend. And that's our
Mhm.
connection communication wise, I think, between both languages, because we will ask them small different phrases and then they will, but
I don't know if it's all only
no,
just money related.
no, I don't
I
think
mean, sometimes
it's
the
not
people
just-
No.
genuinely want to practice their English.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I stand corrected. It's not just money, but also this is for sure thing. We infiltrated many different countries due to war and stayed. So that helped their English. We stayed.
Yeah,
Korea,
We stayed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Germany.
Well,
or
and a
Europe in
lot of
general.
the agreements that we have, after wars with these countries, they are like that. They're in English. Well, and for example, with Japan, like all the negotiations that we did, they were all written in English, and that has been from World War II. Like that,
Right.
the language for
Right.
agreement is English, because what American is going to try to learn Japanese? Like,
And I
it's
bet you they
not
did
an
not have
easy
a
language
translation.
to read.
Yeah.
Well, and
because-
also we won, so we got to say.
And I
That's
bet you they did
true.
not have a translation of any sort when they signed that agreement.
Sure they did. I'm sure
No,
they
I'm
did.
saying
True.
on paper. You thought
Oh,
there was
yeah.
translation?
Yeah. No. I mean, but
Yeah.
I mean, they had a translator. Yes, probably.
Precise,
Um,
yes.
The
yes.
other thing too that we should probably mention, of course, is many countries English is learned in school, but
Yeah.
we don't have reciprocity here.
Yeah.
We do, but it's not
the
mandatory.
same, though. Yeah, I mean, like, I
No.
think maybe in high school you have to have a year or two.
Well, you have to have
Of
3
what?
years.
Of
Oh,
what?
you do? Well, it depends on the state, right? Of language, to Paul. That's the whole topic.
Oh, sorry. No, you have to have 2 years.
I mean, of English or whatever, but I'm just
No,
saying.
of a different
not
language.
Not English. We are talking
To go
about in the
to-
United
Well,
States.
that's if you are going into higher education. You will need
Mhm.
2 years of foreign language.
Of a foreign language. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's
Mhm.
not like you only have to pass. It's not like you got to be taking a test to show your proficiency. Like,
No.
an international test to be like, I can actually speak
No.
Spanish anywhere other than.
But I can tell you here in France, it is not advantageous for people to learn English. I can 100% tell you French is very proud, and they have in like laws that you will like French is what everyone will learn.
Well, are
And
they
they
learning a
make it,
second language at all?
well, yes, but it's not, they're kind of like Americans. It's not forced upon them. Like France right now, and this is statistically proven, everybody can look it up, they're down on the lower scale of all the European countries that know English. They're like
Okay.
almost dead last.
Now I
And
want to,
they're
now I
okay
want to
with
look it
that.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do. I saw that the other day, and I read an article about France being the lowest when it comes to
Well, and
English, and they're trying to
does that
change it.
matter? Is that a problem? Is that something that we've,
To the
you know,
French, it's
like,
not, because they're proud that they want everyone, like they're afraid, I'm talking out of turn, but they might be afraid that they don't want, because there's an immigration influx, that their language becomes secondary. They don't
Okay.
want that to happen. And it does happen
secondary
in
to
America.
English or some
Oh
other
no,
language?
secondary to French. Like they want French to be the prominent language.
Well, right. And they're okay. So you're saying they're concerned that their language is going to become secondary to English or some other language?
Well, to some other language or English, wherever.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it's kind of like us in America. You go down to Miami, you're not going to hear a lot of English,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
and stuff like this. So or even Texas for that matter, in certain spots. So
Mm.
they want to make sure that they put it in there. And
Well,
I noticed
I
even
mean,
when
it
I
makes
go
sense.
everywhere.
That's their language. People should make sure that they be speaking French. I mean,
Oh, I agree with you. I'm
just
just
how we're
saying.
like, hey, you're in America and you're going to be a citizen. Well, please learn English. We only have one
So-
national language.
Well, that's true, but let's be honest. We tend to have translation for the top three
We
most popular languages.
We do.
France, they don't. I
Okay.
rarely have something that's sent to me in English. Rarely. Everything is sent to me in French, and they do that on purpose. And it's not bad. I'm here. I should learn it. So it helps me to learn, of course, but sometimes it's frustrating because I can't just sit and just read something right through.
Mhm.
I have to focus. So sometimes that does get annoying, but I get it and I respect it. I just think that that's the difference between the languages and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
Okay.
why English is such a important language, and why do all countries learn it? And I think I honestly think capitalism has something to do with that.
I know for a fact that that's the only reason. I mean, I would think that that would be the number one reason as to why.
I would agree with you, Tricia, because there's no other reason. Money talks.
Money talks.
and
Yeah.
everything else, and then our culture will come along with it. You know,
So
I
it's
mean,
the colonialism, the money and the culture. Because I mean, like just about everything is made in China. Why aren't we speaking Chinese?
because
So-
it's not, but China isn't, it's not a allied country.
Okay.
So
Oh, okay.
that has something to do with it too, as well, I think. That's
But
interesting.
here's a list. Here's a list of 10 countries with the most English speakers. So just English speakers in the country. And I couldn't find a list right away for this, but I mean for specifically the country demanding that. So I have to see if I can look that up. But the first one is India. Surprise, surprise. Anyone
Well,
surprised
I
with that?
think that might be the common language for them because each state is speaking a different language.
Speaking English.
Correct.
And so
Yeah.
they have English as their common language to unite all
Yeah.
the different states.
Yeah, it says
Agreed.
English is the second most widely spoken second language. So they may speak their own dialect, but then
Right.
English
But
is
then if they
absolutely the
go
next
over
one.
into the next state, it's a different language entirely. One of my partners in when I was taking classes with Oregon State was Indian, and she said that that's why they all know English because like
That's
the
wild.
next like can you imagine going to New Mexico and like they speaking a different language, not English.
And just so you know, there's a hybrid language in India that combines words of Hindi and English, and it's called English.
English. Okay.
English, yeah.
Kind of
So,
like Spanglish.
right.
Exactly.
Well, besides the United States, believe it or not, India was the most.
They have more
I
people,
guess-
though. They do have
yeah.
more people.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip over us, but say Pakistan
Okay.
That's
Pakistan.
next door. That's next door to India. So,
Is next. And then Nigeria is the next.
well, Nigeria speaks English automatically.
Uh-huh.
Why is
Philippines,
that? Because of the British.
because of the
That's
British
true.
influence.
That's true.
That's right.
That's true.
Several Nigerian English words and phrases are recognized by the Oxford English Dictionary.
I can see
So,
that. I can see
as
that.
in the next tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, supposedly those are the words.
Mhm, mhm.
Philippines is the next.
I can see that too as well. That's true. My
Yep,
old boss was
so-
Filipino.
Philippine English speakers sometimes use the plural verb form with a single subject. So that's where the difference is. And then, of course, the United Kingdom, obviously, there's English speakers there.
Yeah.
So. Tanzania,
I can see
didn't know
that too as
that.
well.
The
Yeah.
Republic of Tanzania.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Beautiful,
South Africa?
beautiful country, by the way.
Oh, I've
Well,
heard.
and a lot
I've-
of times
on
they're
my list.
using English or they're using French in Africa as a language to unite because they have so many tribal languages. And
Sure.
because of
True.
colonialism, they decided to use French or English
French or
instead
English
of
is
one of
their
their
language.
own languages. Though
Mhm.
I did do some research and now I've forgotten which country, so I'm not even going to say it. But this country was they were rejecting French and trying to use one of their own languages as the common language instead of French. So trying to go back to one of the tribal
But I
languages.
feel like we're literally just scratching the surface, which I'm sure that's all we can do. I just feel like
Well,
there's
yeah.
more to why the English language is very dominant. And Trecia, you're right. It is capitalism for one. But you know what? Like, I think Benef, you alluded to it. The Chinese have a lot of money, or the Asians have a lot of money too as well.
Well, so here's where I will agree with you, Paul. English is, I think, a lot easier than flipping Chinese. And
ding,
so
ding, ding.
Raleigh,
Well,
I
Chinese or any of the, yeah. Maybe
interviewed
Asian.
Raleigh, and we should listen to her trying to speak Chinese. All right, I am here with Raleigh, the owner of Paint Nail Salon in Colorado Springs, which I attend and I love because it's toxic free and everything is super chill and fun. But you are like a traveler and have lived abroad in Europe and Asia.
So in Singapore, there's a bigger expat population there, which is interesting. But Singapore was incredible. It was so clean.
It is.
It was so clean and it was so beautiful. And we loved it there. It was great. I tried to learn some Mandarin before we went because that's primarily what they speak.
Okay.
Yeah. They also have some of their dialects and quite a few people spoke English, but I still like when we travel. I still like to try and
learn some phrases.
Exactly. So yeah, and so I'm trying to learn. Thank you. And for anybody that knows Mandarin, I mean, I think that my skill set in maybe various Asian languages is not very good. Like the pronunciation of things is so different than English or German or French or anything like that. And so I really struggled with thank you because at least in my pronunciation, I would do the Google Translate and I would just put it up to my mouth. I would say, thank you, because I would have her say it to me, the Google Translate.
Yeah.
And so I'm I can do this. And so every time I would say it, I'd do it the other way around, Mandarin to English. And so I'd say it and the Google Translate says sex. I'm like, oh God, what? And so then I look up that word and it sounds very similar, at least to my ears.
Like the tonal difference is probably like something we can't hear because we don't have tones.
Right. Yes.
So
exactly. It just sounded so similar, and it looked similar even in the phonetic way that it would translate to me and how it would say it on the screen. And so I'm like, I'm gonna be the most ungrateful person because I don't want to be over there. You know, someone like serves me like a meal and I'm just like sex.
Well, so as we saw from Raleigh or heard from Raleigh's story is that language, there's a lot of tones.
It's confusing.
So, you know, if you're going up or down or flat, it means something different. And like American, we do have inflection, but the inflection does not change the meaning of the word.
That's true.
So
That's true.
in such a way that now it's like, it means sex instead of thank you, you know, like we don't have that.
I mean, so, okay, so let me defend my European brethrens. They have a problem. I know my German friends, they always tell me about the words that bothers them that mean the same is, you know, the this, there, the, those, you know, those type of words.
You mean there.
There. Yeah, T-H-E-I-R, T-H-E-R-E.
Yeah.
So
also plurals.
Those
also
are the
plural
same
words like jeans and you know
and words that are from the front of your mouth kind of thing. Bothers them because they can't say it because they're not used to speaking from the front.
Well, and that's the thing. But when they say the word, maybe they mispronounce it. Do we still understand them?
Of course, because we're trained.
Yeah, we do. But I think
it's because we're trained to be nice, to understand and polite.
No, but also yes, Americans don't want to be like, what the fuck are you saying?
Rude.
I don't understand.
Exactly.
The French will be.
That's
the French
true.
Will be like, sorry, I don't do it.
But I do feel like the burden is on the English speaker to really try to understand them because they're trying to speak our language. So we are overly polite and like, I don't know what you're saying, but I'm really trying.
But I think it's our training. I really do think it's because that's what we were taught to do, regardless, even if they speak English to us and it's broken. I just feel like, because I remember when I was younger, my parents told me, if someone is asking you a question, be polite and you try to help if you can.
Try to help them. Them.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that if someone does that for me.
Exactly.
I do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a nice way of saying that, though. I mean,
it makes it hard, though.
Is that you're right. Capitalism is the number one thing, but I think there's a determination of, like I said, and I will try to find that article so that you guys can read it again. It's one of those things where some countries fear that their language is going to become secondary because of what's happening. So they want to force to make sure it doesn't. Whereas I think America might even try to do the same thing, but they don't because we're a melting pot and we're okay with it.
I believe that there's a resurgence in that though, because we have become more global. I feel that people are really trying to, you know, especially with ancestry and, you know, and that sort of thing. Everyone's really trying to, you know, for lack of better words, and I can't think of my own words right now, but you know, with Dr. Lewis Gates, where he does the finding your roots and, you know, all the ancestry.com.
Yes.
They have these, you know, this real resurgence of trying to find where you are, your origin, right? So, you know, before when folks were migrating to the United States early on, you know, manifest destiny and all those wonderful things, you know, most people were looking at, you know, they wanted to be American. It was something to be American.
Oh yeah,
so
you
had to learn the language, right? You had
but the reason why people came over was because of the freedom and the possibility to make a shitload of money.
Right, new land, new opportunities. So it was a must to learn the language. But now, like again, like I said, you know, with the global, you know, this resurgence of global, you know, the 23andMe and everyone's trying, you know, now it's about trying to come back to who, you know, what's your ancestry, you know, what, you know, who am I? Kind of question, answering those questions. So, you know, I feel like everyone's trying to get it back. Why I mean, how many freaking apps are there to learn different languages? I mean, think about it. There's Babbel, there's Rosetta Stone. There's like all these different, you know.
But I mean, to bring it back in,
scratch the surface.
Yeah, but to bring it back in too as well, because I feel a little some kind of way, to be honest with you, because I feel like different countries respect the fact of wanting to learn. Well, number one, I respect the fact that majority of everyone here in Europe knows at least 2 to 3 different languages. I think that's in our nature to be the person to do that. And I'm it's the same with me when I when I lived in Germany and I was on a date and I ordered dessert and it was flan, which
Flan.
Yeah.
It's like a custard. Yeah, it's like a custard.
Yeah, it's like a custard, but
yeah.
it's jiggly. It's very jiggly.
Yes. Very
Yeah,
jiggly.
I'm not a fan, to be honest.
Well, I am a fan now that I'm in France because I'm actually getting real flan and it's really good. However, I had it in Germany and I just remember the taste when I tasted it, it was just disgusting. And she asked me, she's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I don't like it. It's nasty." And she's like, "Why is it?" I was like, "Because look at it. It's shaking. It's mushy. It's nasty. It's so mushy." And she's like, "Oh, stop saying this word, please." And I could see her getting bright red. And then I noticed people started, because I was loud, like a typical American.
You're like, "It's mushy." You're like shouting.
I was like, "It's mushy," because she wasn't listening to me. And I was like, "It's mushy. Look at it. It's jiggly." And she's like, "Stop saying this." And then this old man behind me was just laughing his ass off hysterically, like, and I was just like, "Why is there?" And she's like, "Stop saying it." And then she finally tells me what the word means. Mushy, which is something that we would say, like, "Oh, it's mushy. It's nasty."
Yeah.
Well, that's a P word. That's the woman's vagina in German. So I'm just like
not a clinical term
embarrassed.
for vagina, like a slang term.
Like a slang term.
That's why she was really like embarrassed. And I was just like, "Well, I didn't know."
On a date.
Yeah.
You
And I was like, "Oh, you know?" And I'm like,
Was your date German too? Was she German?
Yeah, she's German. She was.
Oh my God! What was she doing? When you're saying
she was bright red. She was bright red and embarrassed, is what it was. And I was just like,
funny.
This is.
That's good.
Years ago.
Oh my God! So you're
when I first moved to Germany.
Dessert being like it.
That's funny.
Because those are, and that's why I said there are different words.
You wouldn't know
there
that.
are different words in English that mean something totally different in another language.
So I think that's it for us today, guys. Great talk. Great talk.
I think I drank enough wine for today.
And it was all in English, I will add.
It was all in English again. Yes, it was. It was all in English. So
however, why don't we do something a little bit more, Benef, you can maybe say something in French because I know you speak a bit of French.
No, je n'ai pas envie de faire ça.
That's all we're getting, folks. That is all we're getting. I don't know what she just said.
That's all we're getting today. Well, I would say for you to go ahead and wish our subscribers or wish our prospective subscribers to go ahead and subscribe, comment, and like in French.
Yeah.
But we're better off in English.
We do want to hear your thoughts on English as the international language, or
absolutely
why, if you whatever opinions that you have, we would definitely be interested to hear those.
Absolutely. So we definitely want your feedback and what you think is the #1 reason as to why the English language is the dominant language, across the continent. So with that, we're going to say goodbye for now. We'll see you again real soon next week. But let's have a great evening, everyone, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.